you know,
Yes.
because sometimes it works out that someone can't come in,
Mm-hmm.
but they can get on a Zoom.
Oh, I can
So,
come in anytime. I'm about the community.
so I met you, I believe when we were start first about the reparations,
Four years ago.
the freedmen, American freedmen, and
Mm-hmm.
we were at I think at RCC meeting at
Yes.
Ross Bay Community College, and we were going at it. I mean, it was like
Mm-hmm.
it was like so much was going on. I think that's when they first started talking about the reparations,
Yes.
and they assigned the committee,
Yes.
and I think you've been on it ever since. You have not let up.
I
so,
haven't.
so tell us a little bit about you.
So, my name is Antonia Edwards. I am a legacy resident of the city of Boston. I say this all the time. My family's been here since 1940. My family fled Barnwell, South Carolina for racial terror. My grandparents on both sides were sharecroppers. My mother was an illegal child sharecropper. So my grandmother instilled our heritage and our legacy in me, and that's who I am, and that's why I have so much fire underneath me. They've been here since 1940. I grew up in Roxbury. I was born in Dorchester. I was raised in Roxbury, Newby and Dudley Square. I went to school in Needham, but I spent all of my summers down south on the plantation that they fled. My grandmother thought it was so important for me to understand where I came from, and that's why I have so much passion about this in the community and lending this knowledge that I have to other people. I have my own organization, Solidarity Community Engagement Group, and we're on the grounds, stilettos and boots on the ground, trying to engage with the community. But I'm also a part of a national organization, which is United Sons and Daughters of Freedmen, and we've been trying to educate people and empower them to embrace the legal status of American freedmen that just has not been used. And so we were trying to get ahead of the ball by saying to people, embrace the status because it's legal. We have the American Freedmen Act, the American Freedmen Bureau, and the American Freedmen Bank. That's a legal status. It's not based on race. And here we are 4 years later, everything's been stripped by race. And so that's why I was fighting so hard when I first came home. I'm back home. I was gone for a couple of years. I came back to take care of my mom. She has frontotemporal dementia. And when I came back, I looked around Boston. I'm like, what is going on? Like, it was just shocking to me. And even though I had been back and forth, to come back and walk the communities and talk to people, I just seen a despair.
Right. I mean, definitely, if you've been raised from Boston, you definitely, and you go and you come back, you definitely see the disparities.
Oh, you definitely see it.
You know, and you also see them if you live in here too.
You do too, yes.
And haven't went nowhere,
Exactly.
you know.
Yeah, that's so true, because I feel that way since I've been back. I'm like, I don't see any progress.
Right,
and it's just sad to me.
Yeah, it is. It's very sad. And so we know that there was a movie called Erasure, which you was a part of, which I love that movie.
Thank you.
I tell you, the documentary, it just goes to show you exactly what they are doing to us. You know?
I was asked by Sabrina Sabatini to be a part of that, and I had been speaking with her with other stuff, and she is awesome. And I was honored to be a part of it. And, and after I did, I'm like, man, I should have said this, I should have said that. Like, I didn't encompass the South End. But everybody who approaches me was like, it was profound. And I wanted to cry during the documentary, because I'm like, why does Dudley / Nubian Square look like this? This is ridiculous. And so for them to think that we don't deserve any better just really breaks my heart. And I live there. And so when I come outside every day, it's just a sore reminder of the harms, the disparity, the underservement that's going on by the government here. And it's been, consistent across the board. It's been going on for years.
Definitely. So tell me, how did you get on the reparations board?
So I came back in 22, and I seen what was going on, and I actually sent a petition to the mayor, and I said, listen, if you're going to do this reparations task force, it should be predominantly for those who descend from slavery. I thought that was very important. A lot of people may think it's divisive. I'm not divisive, but when you talk about the legacy of slavery, you can't overlook those who have that lived experience. And I'm real big on telling the story through the lens of American freedmen. I know that all black people have, have suffered some kind of disparity as a result of being black in the United States, but there's a specific group of people who have been systematically, structurally harmed for 400 years. And I want to make sure stories are told. I want to make sure they are being the ones who are being acknowledged. And so when you talk about reparations, and reparations is one thing, but the legacy of slavery is really near and dear to my heart. So I was there when the ordinance was signed. There were other people who had worked on it prior to me, and they did a lot of work, and felt as though they weren't acknowledged as much as they should have. And I kind of felt bad about that. I know Aziza Roberts had said that she wrote some edits and stuff, but she said that they weren't put in. But for me,
she did a lot of work too. She did a lot of work.
She did. Right. And that's when I met her. I met her 4 years ago, and we actually walked the halls of City Council to let them know that American freedmen, the task force should be 75% American freedmen, and that it should be put in there. What was put in the ordinance was a profound knowledge of descendants of slaves and black descendants of slaves in the U.S., and that's close enough for me because that is an American freedman. Then I just started participating in the meetings. The meetings were very important to me. I don't think I've missed one meeting. And then I was asked in November of 24 if I would like to be a part of the task force. And I said, of course. So I said, can we just wait for a couple of months? Let me make sure my mom is settled, whatever. Right. And they did. So I was officially appointed as of January 2025.
Okay.
And I've been on since.
Okay. All right. So exactly, what do you see any progress with the reparations committee? I mean, because they feel like we don't deserve reparations. You know?
Let me just give a huge shout out to the illustrious attorney Joe Feaster. He is my mentor. He holds us down. We have Lamerchi Frazier on our task force. We have Mariama Hammond. I'm sorry. We have Byron Russian. We have Mac Hudson. We have Darian Johnson, and we also have Dorothea Jones.
Okay.
I work with a very intelligent, grounded group of people. I can honestly say that. Everybody understands the purpose of doing the reparation task force. We basically have been waiting for the research reporters. We have reports that are being done by Northeastern and Tufts. They have certain periods. I think Tufts is 1620 to 1940. And Northeast is a 1940 to present. And so basically the delay is the research, which we as a task force have no control over. So the city has basically been in negotiation and talking to Tufts and Northeastern to get those reports done. I did talk to Khalid Mustafa, who is our project manager, yesterday, just to get clearance for this meeting and find out where we're at. And so the city hopes to roll out either an executive summary or either the 500-page report in the near future. And that could be within the next month. And so the final reports aren't done. However, the task force has read and has been reading the drafts, and it is 500 pages.
Wow. And
so my concern is when people are addressing me or accosting me or, oh, Anthony, the task force full of shit. And I'm like, okay, you are ready to read these 500 pages? Because when we do have these listening sessions, it's not going to be about, oh, I bumped my toe or, oh, I'm getting ready to get evicted. It's going to be about the report. And so we have to put serious business on the table now. Right. And that's what I've been trying to get the community to do. It's like, let's have strategy meetings in the community. Let's start talking about harms. Let's start talking about what we really want. Because for me and for reparations, you have to know how you've been harmed, how you want to be repaired, and what that number looks like. Right. And I think that the community has not done that, and I've been asking for them to do that because it's extremely important.
Right.
It is, because the task force is going to make recommendations.
Right.
But the task force also has to be transparent and have inclusivity with the community. But if the community's not meeting and talking about it, then how are they going to be heard? And I'm real big on having the community's voices heard.
Right. I mean, that's what it's basically all about, is the community, right?
Well, that's what I've been trying to say to the community. Like, I run around like Chicken Little, the sky is falling. And, I tell people, you have to have strategy meetings, get together. Let's start talking about harms. Let's start talking about how you want this to roll out. What do you see? And I don't think people are taking it as serious as they should. And I know our people are like been browbeaten. They don't believe it's going to happen. They believe it's a game, but it's a law. Like, this is a law. The ordinance is a law. The reparations has to be addressed.
So tell me, when do you have a specific time that you hold these? Because I know the reparations hold a meeting once a month, but is there another time that where you want the community to come in besides that once a month meeting, or are you like asking people to kind of like have their own smaller community
Right.
meetings.
So this is a misconception. A lot of people come to me and they're like, Antonia, where's the reparations meeting? And since I've been on the task force, the meetings that have been put in place, the first set of meetings was December 2024, and that was for Northeastern to do their draft to show the community the framework of what they were doing. And then in January 2025, it was Tufts. And then in March 2025, it was both of them combined. So since then, I as a community engagement chair, have been giving the meetings that we had, and I wanted to show the community projects. So that was April, May, and June of 2025. And after that, there was nothing for the task force to talk about. And I explained to people in the community, the task force only has meetings when there's something to talk about. And so people say, well, Antonia, there's lots to talk about. I said, like, give me an example. Because when I tell the team I need to have a meeting in the community, they want an agenda. So what's the agenda, Antonia? What are we talking about? So the community will say reparations. And I'm trying to explain to the community, that's the community, grassroots. That's their piece. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I've been asking the community to do. Have your meetings. If you have a meeting, I'll show up. I don't have any problem being available, but it's up to the community to meet and discuss what their thoughts of reparation is, how they want to be repaired, well, how they've been harmed, how they want to be repaired, and what that looks like. And one of the biggest things that I want people to know is I gave a workshop with the team in September at Reggie Lewis Center, and it was about harms, because people are telling me they don't even know the harms. And I'm like, okay, so how did being a descendant of a slave affect you? And so I think it was probably just the verbiage, or maybe it's just the fact that they never really thought about it. They just know that they've been marginalized. So we gave that workshop, and the workshop, they talked about 5 areas of harm: housing, education, police accountability, criminal justice, health, and then the wealth. And I'm like, community, you sure that's all the harm we have? Because, I mean, we dictate the harms. And so I wanted the community to further expand upon those meetings and have additional meetings to talk about the harms, so that when we get to this point of having these listening sessions, they can say, I read these reports, but it's not addressing these harms or whatever. So that didn't transpire. But as far as the responsibility of the task force, there is no monthly meetings. It just so happens that because I thought it was important as a community engagement chair to have the projects that people got the grants for, to have them showcase, we were given meetings every month, and for the ones who we were able to contact. But other than that, there won't be a reparations task force meeting until there's something to present. And so now that would be the reports and then the listening session.
So you're saying the reports from
The researchers.
from Tufts and Northeastern.
Right. And that's been the lull. The lull is there's nothing to present because we don't have the final reports, and that's what we've been waiting for. So the community wants me to, as a community engagement chairperson, to have meetings, but there's no reason to have a meeting because there's nothing
To meet about.
And I know that sounds kind of harsh, but the task force and the city has nothing to present.
That's just it's sad though, because it just seems like it's kind of like stuck, you know.
And that's why I've been trying to empower the community. I'm like, listen, you dictate reparations. It's about you. So if that's the case, you meet. And to this day, no one's come to the task force with a structural plan as to what they want to see in reparations. I've been trying to get people to meet. I've been begging people to meet. Like, what do you want? Like, if this reparations was to come through today, what would you want? And that's really important, because even if every little thing is not done the exact way that they want it to be done, the community has a voice. Right. And I'm empowering the community to exercise their voice. And that's a hard thing I'm having to do. That's the hardest thing that I have with the community, to get them to exercise their voice.
Okay.
And and let me just tell you something. Everybody in City Hall knows that Antonia is community driven. They're like, okay, Antonia, we know you're about the community. Okay, we know. And I emphasize it every meeting. I'm like, well, what about the community? Well, the community needs to know this. The community wants to hear this. And so I'm pro community.
Right.
I literally, there's nothing that's being done that's affecting the community that hasn't been addressed.
Okay. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Sister Priscilla. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, my
salam.
sister.
Good morning.
Antonia Edwards.
Good morning, Queen Sister. How are you?
I am blessed to see these two powerhouses this morning talking about this subject. And so I have known Sister Antonia in this fight, and I've known Sister Priscilla in this fight. So to have the two of you guys talking about us, Black Americans, American freedmen, and I know Sister Antonia is deep into even the global discussion about reparations and the country discussion about reparation. But for those who are slow and don't know, can you break down the difference between the Pan-African focus that is taking away a lot of the steam and a lot of the heat and confusing the issue about the Office of American Freedmen legislation? And I've seen you try to navigate and educate people who show up and they talk about harms, but they don't really know the difference between I can't pay my rent this week or this month, and this is what's happening to our people globally and nationally and locally, because there is a difference.
Yes. So the Pan-African concept is an ideology and it's global for the African diaspora, and it mentions people of African descent. And basically, it's an all Black Lives Matter. And yes, we were all harmed. We all were enslaved in our countries. However, I focus on United States, and because there's laws, legislation that was specifically put in place to make this happen. So one of the biggest things for me and why I focus a lot on Massachusetts is Massachusetts sanctioned slavery in 1641 with the Bodies of Liberty. They made it a law. They're the first of the 13 colonies to do that. And they also implemented Jim Crow first. So without being divisive, without shutting anybody else out, we're not asking for reparations based on racial discriminations. We're asking for reparations based on harms. So you have Jim Crow, which you have slavery, 250 years of slavery. You have black codes, you have Jim Crow, you have segregation, you have the civil rights violations, and then out of that era became the Immigration Act of 1965, and then that's when people started coming from other countries that were black, when they allowed them to, let's just say that, which was one of the biggest pieces. So after that point of 1965, that's when other people from other countries started facing the same harms that we did. So when people bring up the legacy of slavery, the legacy of slavery is for a specific group of people. And those are those who are descendants of the formerly emancipated people, which are American freedmen. And so that's the time period that when I'm being tasked to sit on the task force and talk about the legacy of slavery, I'm advocating and highly advocating for that group of people. But for slavery, there would be no racial discrimination or potential to be. Does that answer the question?
No, well, it does, but it doesn't, because I know you're much deeper than this, and the program is only an hour long. I was specifically pointing to, everyone but Black Americans, Black descendants of slavery, Office of Freedmen, everybody but the original Black people, everybody, including slaveholders, received reparations.
Yes.
There are people who are not even American citizens who have received reparations. And so when people talk about reparations for Black Americans, and I heard you use the word divisive. It's only divisive, and it's only termed like that because it's us.
Right.
They're even, the Orange Menace in the White House is even talking about reparations for those people that stormed the Capitol on January 6th. But when it comes to us, it's a different conversation.
Yes.
And I think the problem, that I see when I've seen you out there with your stilettos on the ground and trying to educate people. And so because we have not educated ourselves, and we've allowed, like Malcolm said, who recently had a birthday, May 19th, only a fool allows your enemy to educate your kids. And because we left that up to the oppressor, we are sitting here and you're sitting here pulling teeth to get people to understand this means you, but you need to speak up for us, because if it wasn't for us, setting aside the sacrifices over the years for all of us, we'd still be picking cotton.
Exactly.
And so, I see both of you sisters out there. I met Priscilla when she was out there on the picket line and another radio station, and she would call in, holding people accountable to the fact that we were not being employed in building the buildings and getting paid to do what we had to do for free.
Yes.
So I applaud both of you out there and not giving up. And Antonia, I've been there when you have been not screaming at people because you're very nice about it,
but
getting people to come up to the State House, go down to the City Hall, and really show in numbers And so people show up and they talk about their pain, but they don't understand how extensive this is in terms of the anti-black
Yes.
sentiments that are going around globally because other people are making money off the backs of us, either by locking us up and putting us in jail. And so, I understand that, but are there organizations that you think actually know what's going on that people could plug into? Because you're only one person.
Yes.
And not having the meetings or waiting for the meetings to happen. And there are several people that are out there talking about reparations. Who's telling the truth? I mean, everybody is talking about it. And in terms of African American, which is why you don't use that term, Elon Musk is an African American. He's from South Africa.
Yes.
He's a naturalized American, but we ain't talking about him.
Yes.
But even the Orange Menace is talking about his people, South Africans, getting reparations because they've been, everybody but us, and the us, quote unquote, I think is being confused because so many people are being hurt and so many people that look like us, but they're not like us in terms of the historic experience. And so the divisiveness, I've seen it play out where people are, recently even in the newspaper, where people have made statements about, well, we immigrants came here and built this country, and not even understanding that basic statement, like you came here willingly, we did not.
Exactly.
And that fundamentally is something different. And that's not divisive.
Right.
That is the truth, and it's the history that people don't know.
Exactly.
So I thank you for standing in the gap.
Thank you.
And when do people have to show up for the legislation?
So, the state bill that I have with Brandy Fluker Reed is to initiate an Office of Freedmen Affairs. It's not reparations, but every other race of people have a office. There's a commission on Haitians. There's a commission for Hispanics. There's a commission for LGBT. There's a commission for Asians. I don't understand why we don't have a commission. Also, there's a Bureau of Indian Affairs. And I want to say that every other group of people that were harmed have received reparations. So the Japanese received reparations for internment camps. The Jewish people receive reparations, and that comes out of our tax dollars, even though it didn't happen here. And so we're the only group of people who have been harmed consistently and who were kidnapped and basically human trafficked to build this country. And every single time we open our mouth to speak about our heritage, it offends somebody. Immediately. I can put a post on my page and say, oh, we're having a reparations meeting, and people come out the woodworks. Oh, nigga this, da-da-da. Or, we need reparations too. I'm Irish. My ancestors were slaves. I mean, it's really ridiculous that people have the mindset to have compassion and empathy for other people's plights, but cannot respect and have no sympathy or empathy for what we've been through. So, the state bill that I have is H4351, and it's with Brandy Fluker Reed, and I'm asking for a state-level Office of Freedmen Affairs, and this would identify our people. There's 140 to 160,000 of us here in Massachusetts. This office will then set up a case log for us, find out what's going on with us, what do we need, so that we know what to ask for reparations for. And I'm also asking for that at the city level. I have the QR code here that I'll show at the end. One of our biggest things is that we at United Sons and Daughters, because you're asking me what groups can they join. United Sons and Daughters of Freemen, that's usadof.org, usadof.org. And we have offices throughout the country. We have Massachusetts, New York, we have DMV, which is the Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia area. We have North Carolina, we have South Carolina, we have Florida, we have Atlanta, we have Arizona. And so those areas have people that are joining every day. And so we're just trying to make sure that our heritage is not erased, because we have been seeing black erasure. And so this is fundamentally our heritage. And if it wasn't for the legislation that was put on the books back in 1865, people wouldn't believe that this exists. But literally, this is our key to reparations, which is non-racial. It's a status like the Native Americans. We should have the preferential protected status like Native Americans. We should have free education, no taxation, and free medical exactly like them as well, too. And ironically, their Bureau of Indian Affairs began right after ours did, and it's still in place today. Ours was dismantled, saying just like the bank, just took all of our money. So I would join, or I would get some education from United Sons and Daughters of Freemen. And as I said, that website is usadof.org. And if you're in Boston, contact me because I have all the information. I don't have any problem having phone workshops, Zoom workshops, in-person workshops, because we have to be able to unite. The biggest piece that's been said to me is like, Antonia, the optics are bleak. You're fighting so hard for this, but where's everybody else?
Right.
And that's what I've been told.
Right.
And so they want to see us. They want to see us at the hearings, at the testimonies. They want to see us when it comes to legislation. Like a good example is like Sharon Hinton, Queen Sharon. She came to the hearing. There may have been 5 people there, but I got like 100 people to do testimonies. They want to see us. They want to hear our stories. And so it's really important that when there's a hearing, we show up in person, even if we're not testifying, that we're there and we can say we represent our heritage as American freedmen. Did that answer all your questions, Sharon?
It does, because I think when we hear, people show up and then they want to know what next or what happened to my testimony. And just one last thing, there were 3 survivors of the Black Wall Street massacre, which it was a massacre. And, so when people say, oh, there's nobody left from some of the things that have happened to Black American freedmen, yes, there were. And these people who literally were children when Tulsa, Oklahoma was bombed and wiped out and killed and murdered with the U.S. government's help dropping bombs. Black Americans in this country, the only people who have had bombs dropped on them in this country by the U.S. government's complicity.
Exactly.
And so it's still happening, but they have not even received. They're survivors, and they died. There's only one, I think, that's left. They've died before they even received reparations, and they have absolute proof of what happened to them and their families. So this country is showing who they care about and who they don't.
And that's not including all the other massacres or all the other towns that were successful that were flooded and now are underwater like Lake Lanier. There's so much stuff that these people have done to us. And it's recorded. It's on record. And so you can't dispute what they've done. And just think about all the stuff that we know in comparison to all the stuff we don't know that they've done to us. Right. And so until we have a united front, until we speak up and demand, recognition, they don't take us serious because we're not there. We're not speaking up. And another thing, too, is you have congressional people asking for reparations for the illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
So it's like they keep putting people above
us.
As though we're
always the bottom of the totem pole.
Exactly.
So I would like to put a plug in for the Black Agenda Coalition, which meets every Thursday from 6 to 8 at Torchlight Recovery Cafe, which is at 2 Washington Street, which is headed by Mac Hudson. And we are trying to come together with our agenda. And, we do have to show up at certain places. I just feel like, if our voices aren't heard, if we're not there, they're just going to do what they want to do. I didn't attend the city council hearing yesterday, but I heard that the vote was 6-6.
6-6.
For the budget.
To reject the budget.
Yep. And so
there's another meeting on May 26th at 6 o'clock. So people, please flood City Hall. It's at 6 o'clock in the evening. Most people that work, this will be convened for them. Come in, express yourself about the budget. Basically, the budget has been gutted. Right. The budget was 11 million in 2024, 14 in 2025, and then now it went back down to 11 million, I think it is. And so basically, the budget's been gutted.
Right. And a lot of our youth will not have jobs this summer because of that budget. There is just so much that is going on in this city that we have to learn how to speak up and speak out. We have to. I know a lot of us work. I know a lot of people work. I know a lot of people can't make it. But we got to, some way we got to be able to make our voices heard. Email our city councils. Get on the Zoom calls and testify.
Call.
Call them. If you call them, just sit there and call them. Each one. Because they have to know that we hear them and we see them. And we have to have a plan because next year is an election year. And we got to get some of them jokers out of office, for real. We really do, because the mayor has her crew and, the community has their crew. Unfortunately, when it's a 6-6 tie, because one of the persons is out on maternity leave, it doesn't go anywhere. That's why you always have an odd number, that with the odd numbers out, you know.
Right.
You know, people. I've been doing this radio show now 10 years,
Oh,
11
wow.
years, and you know, it hurts me when I see the things that are going on. We talk about Nubian Square. I was born right there in Boston City Hospital.
I was
Grew up
too.
in Orchard Park Projects. And to see all the building that is going on, I mean, it's just like it's going to be a little mini Manhattan there pretty soon, because
Exactly.
all them buildings are going up.
Right.
And who is going to be living in them buildings? Not us.
So do you know that the buildings where Calvi Jewelry Store is, where Josh Kraft and Julia Mia have their office, that is a 2-bedroom built condo building, $500,000 for the condos.
$500,000.
So this is the part I don't understand. The community was renamed to Nubian, and now it's being gentrified. So how is that? And then with the opioid addiction spillover, and it's like the community is dysfunctional, and then what? All of a sudden they're gonna clean it up for somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
So people have to speak up. Minyard Culpepper in our district had a public safety meeting. It was awesome. People came out. The seniors came out. They're in the Catherine Hardaway building.
Right.
They see women getting raped. They see all the drug activity that's going on. There's defecation on the sidewalk. You know, my mom has a rollator. She can't even go down. I still say Dudley. I'm sorry, Nubian Square. And it's just, it's sad how the whole aspect has been controlled, and nobody seems to be able to control it or help correct it.
Right.
And it's just really sad. And then with all the gentrification that's going on, my biggest piece is that there's no business.
None.
There's none. Every other community is thriving except for my community. Like, there's no baker, butcher, candlestick maker. There's no ice cream shop. There's no laundromat.
No cleaners.
There's no cleaners. There's no hairdressers. So
None of that stuff.
when I come to other communities like Codman Square, Fields Corner, Hyde Park, Uplands Corner, everybody is bustling.
Yep.
But my community has absolutely nothing. So if I need Tylenol, I have to go to Brigham Circle.
Right.
Either to Walgreens or Stop and Shop. I mean, there's really nothing in the community that would compel me to, you know what I'm saying, come out and go shopping down there. And then the black
Because
businesses.
there's really nothing there.
Right. And then the black businesses are there. There's only 3 black American businesses. That's Frugal Bookstore. That's the Final Touch. And then my godfather's barbershop, the Oasis Barbershop. That's it. Everything else is of other culture.
Right.
So there's nothing that represents us in this community. And all other communities have representation. And it's sad.
Can I
to me.
say something? The last thing, Hardaway, the Final Touch, that is the Hardaway family, because of the activism of the black community, they were slated to close, and it's a family business. And because Boston Praise Radio and BNN and producers at BNN and Urban Heat and Cindy Jiggs, I got to give her a shout out, that actually had staycations down there, especially during the pandemic. The black community turned it around with their advocacy and with the support of City Councilor Reverend Minyard Culpepper and Julia Mejia, so that now that business is still there. So the businesses that are there, when we come out and support them, like Frugal Books, like Final Touch, and like Oasis, they are there, and we need to spend our money there at the black businesses there, because we can turn it around. We, like Priscilla says, we are the people, and we have the power.
Yes.
So I thank you all. And one last thing, this is an election year as well. So people need to register and then vote. Register and then vote. Nationwide, there is a move to take away our vote, and so we have to register to vote. Let me get off the phone.
So
my
can I
dogs
just
are
make a
barking
quick
in the
statement?
back.
So I testified at City Council for the economic opportunity and inclusion for the black businesses in the city of Boston, well, in Nubian Square, Roxbury. And so Final Touch, Oasis were top of my advocacy. They did get an extension, but no money. And so Oasis Barbershop is right across the street from my house. It's my godfather's barbershop. He's been in the community for 34 years. He's applied for the Legacy Grant 3 years in a row and was turned down. This year, because of my advocacy, he got it. And guess what? There was no money. He's heartbroken. So after all these years of giving the grants to other people who aren't Legacy, he received it and he's supposed to pick it up on June 4th, the notification, the award, but there's no money attached to it. So he's heartbroken that he's been in the community for 34 years.
So how do you award a grant with no money attached to it? I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
I just don't understand.
So Final Touch didn't get any money either. They just got an extension. And so it's sad because we were asking for a bailout. We're asking to help these businesses.
I mean, they help everyone else, but
Yes.
they won't help us.
Exactly.
I believe we have another caller. Thank you, Sharon, for
Thanks,
your call.
Sharon,
Appreciate
Queen
you.
You're
sister.
welcome. God bless you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Sister Priscilla.
Good
and
morning, Grace.
Priscilla.
How are you?
Good morning, Grace. How are you?
Oh, good. Just calling, glad to hear about the update on the reparations
Yes.
task force. I wanted to know, though, what is the position on the task force? Because several members were saying that we're not getting any money. We're going to get free education or free health care.
Okay. First of all, there's not one person on the task force that made that statement. Not one person on the task force has made any public statements about not getting any money or what we would be getting. I know that to be true. So I don't know if you want to name a specific person, but
No, I don't want to name a
Okay.
specific person, but this was told to us at meetings, so it's recorded.
no, I think that what you're speaking about is the reference that the mayor may not offer us money. I think because I've been at every meeting, but nobody in the task force has ever said that they're advocating for no money and just education. What we're trying to do, and this is to be honest with you, so let's just say we're finished with the recommendations right now, and the mayor did the budget, and there's no money in the budget. What the mind frame is to get people to understand is there may not be cash reparations. We don't know, so we're keeping it real. We're being very honest. How do we
The
know?
city of Boston is sued all the time.
Okay,
They
so
come
then,
up with, I don't know how they come up
Yes.
and pay lawsuits, but they're sued all the time.
yes. And so if the
Yeah.
community wants to sue the city of Boston for cash reparations, it's more than welcome to. I think that under the guidance and under the leadership of Joe Feaster, we keep it very real. And I know that not one person on the task force has made any statement with regards to our recommendations. I think that
they have, but I don't want to get into
Okay.
that. I just keep it real on the issue. Is the task force going to recommend money?
So the task force hasn't even gotten to the point of making recommendations. As I said, the reports, we have the drafts, Ms. Grace, and then we've been reading them. So we're waiting for the final reports to be issued and then get to the community so you can read them. And it's really important that people get their minds right to read these reports because it's going to be up to you to say what the recommendations are and how you want to be repaired. So also, there's an economist that was voted on. It was voted on my first day as being appointed. The economist will then quantify the harms based on the reports. And that's why it was very important for the community to come to the workshop and talk about their harms or have a plan together as to what their harms are. Because the economist is going to go by the reports. And I was asking for community input on the harms. So far, what the economist who they conferred with has 5 areas of harm. I believe there's more. And I was asking the community at the workshop on September 20th to see if there was any other harms that could have been considered. So we haven't even gotten to the point of making recommendations.
Oh, I have one more question.
Sure.
How is the task force? You had said that. How is the task force going to identify black freedmen?
Well,
What is the criteria? Is it going to be lineage, DNA? What is the criteria that they're going to use? You had mentioned something about there's 160,000 black freedmen or something. So I'm just asking you that question.
Okay. So the task force is not identifying black freedmen. There's no such thing as black freedmen. It's American freedmen. I was talking about my bill. The bill is to open up an Office of Freedmen Affairs at the state level for American freedmen. And so in the state of Massachusetts, based on the Pew Report and Census, my team and I did a quantification. We found that there's 140 to 160 descendants of slaves who are American freedmen here in the state of Massachusetts that would benefit from our Office of Freedmen Affairs. I also would like to see it, and we, my team, would like to see it at the city level as well too. So that would be a recommendation. So if you ask me, if you had an Office of Freedmen Affairs, how would you identify an American freedman? It would be based on their documentation, their lineage, something as simple as a birth certificate. So for instance, my birth certificate says Negro. It says that my mother and father were Negro. My grandmother's documentation says colored. If you have those races on your documentation, chances are you're a descendant of slave. But then also, for the Office of Freedmen Affairs, we want to offer genealogy. We don't want to put the responsibility on the residents and constituents or descendants of slaves to figure out who they are. We think that the government owes it to us to help us figure out who we are, because again, we were kidnapped and human trafficked and stripped from our original heritage. So the Office of Freedmen Affairs is asking in our budget for money, because we did present a budget to the House Ways and Means, and that's what we're waiting for, to have genealogy so that people can bring, even if it's a scrap piece of paper or one birth certificate or whatever, so that we can help people trace their roots. And that's really important to us for our Office of Freedmen Affairs. So that's separate from the task force. And that's why we're asking the community to help us create this Office of Freedmen Affairs, because it's going to be so important.
So you would talk.
I have one more question for Sister Priscilla and you, but Sister Priscilla.
Yes.
The community, the black community, and we should oppose. First of all, we should oppose the racial removal of black, even with the black freedmen, because that's who we are, and we were enslaved because of our race. So how can they dictate to us that they want to remove blacks? That's one thing. The other thing is the black community is under extreme pressures. Our people are depressed, having to gone through all the harms that they have gone. We're facing things that we've never faced before, an influx of people, the removal of black people from the city of Boston. The country is facing huge deficits, $30 trillion in all major cities across the United States, due to the pandemic being shut down, due to the economy. We are facing a depression of the worst kind. We can go, so the black community, we've been through depressions. I haven't, but our ancestors been through many depressions, and the number one thing on how we survived is we had family, we had extended family.
Yes.
Now our families are disrupted.
Yes.
So how are we going to survive this depression that is facing us today? We could go down near the city hall and beg them about their budget, but the fact of the reality, the United States government is in trouble. The states are in trouble. The cities are in trouble. We are facing a depression of the worst kind, and we need to address that as a people.
Well, first thing I would say that we, as black people, we are resilient, and we have come a long way. And what we have to do is start working together, start coming together. We may have to start bartering. We have to start spending with our own people. We got to stop going out to these malls and shopping places. We need to shop within our community with people that look like us. That's one thing. And we need to get involved in these meetings that are going on, like the state, in these bills that we are trying to pass. And we need to get rid of some of our elected officials on the city and state level. I mean, we have people that are supposed to represent us that are not representing us. Yeah. They're representing the mayor, and that's just the truth. So the first thing we need to do is we need to come together as people, as black people. We have been used, abused, and confused for so long. There's so many things that are happening to our people, and we feel hopeless and helpless, but we're not. We're strong people. We have to put our money together. We got to put our minds together. We got to put our hearts hearts together and work together. That's how we start. And like I said, we may have to start bartering.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
we may have to go back to bartering. Well, you got a cup of sugar, I got a cup of milk. Let's, I mean, there are ways that we can do it, and I believe there's enough people in this city, state, and country that we can do it. I mean, we have a whole lot of billionaire ball players, actresses, entertainers. They can help. They can help all of us.
Yes.
But we got to come. We got to show a united front.
Absolutely.
And going down City Hall, you do have to go down there and
it's not begging.
And exactly, we
We're not
ain't begging.
That's our tax dollars.
Exactly.
Our tax dollars are being spent on things that we didn't even ask for. I mean, literally, if you look at the budget, there's things that are being spent that we did not ask for. And so there's no taxation without representation.
And another
that's the whole thing of the Tea Party, right?
Right.
The Boston Tea Party.
And another thing about the budget too, you look and you see where money is allocated.
Exactly.
How much money is allocated to Roxbury? How much money is allocated to Chinatown? How much money is allocated to Roxbury? How much money is allocated to West Roxbury? How much money is allocated to Dorchester? How much money is allocated to Charlestown? That tells you right then and there.
It does.
So we as black people, we got to wake up.
We have to wake up.
Wake up, everybody. So
let me say something, Miss Grace. People are working in silos, and people have personality conflicts that we have to get over. We're in dire strait, and so we have to operate and work as though, you know what I'm saying, our life is at danger at this point. You know what I'm saying? So we in our community haven't done anything significant since the civil rights movement. And so that was 56, almost 60 years ago. So this has allowed people to suppress us. And so by assassinating our leaders, it just put us in a catatonic state. And you're right, there is no more village to raise the kids in a village together. We have to duplicate that. We have got to work together. And if you look at it, all other groups of people comes together, they fight to get exactly what they want. We're the only group of people that don't do that. And what I mean by group of people is the descendants of slaves. You know what I'm saying? And the ones who are supposed to be repaired for the legacy of slavery. However you want to identify yourself. And I'm not saying that you have to call yourself an American freedman every day. That's your status. That's who you are. You can call yourself Black, African American, but it doesn't change the fact that you are a descendant of a formerly emancipated person, and you have this legal status that's never been used. And so I challenge people to work together. Stop working in silos. You have all these grassroots organizations or these people saying they're working with reparations, but they're not working together. And so there's no reason why we can't sit in a room and we can't get stuff done. And I'm begging people to do it, and I'm begging to also help and be a part of that. Let me just say something that I found out, because I've been doing a lot of research. Like Sister Priscilla said, the budget is produced in January, February, the proposed budget. Mm-hmm. We are so behind the 8 ball that there's this group that I met the other evening called Budget Alliance. They're out of Jamaica Plain. They are on point. They stripped the budget. They had meetings about the budget. They had a contest about what they thought was important about the budget. And guess what? It's on the boston.gov page. They have ranked number 1, Immigrant Legal Defense Fund, $400,000. Number 2, Neighborhood Fresh Foods Association, $500,000. Number 3, Bridging the Gap, Assistance for Housing Stability, and it has certain criteria in here, $200,000. Number 4, Immigrant Career Pathways, Bridging Language and Employment for Immigrants. That's $300,000. Green My Block, that's making your block look beautiful, $100,000. Workforce Training and Focus for Immigrants, $300,000. And it goes on. So they had voted in order what they wanted to see changed in the budget. How come we didn't do that in our community? We have people who have degrees. We have people who have specific talents in a certain area. We need carpenters, we need welders, we need people with MBAs who are accountants. We need to all come together and sit at a table and bring our expertise and break this down just like they did. Mm-hmm. So guess what? This is called participatory budget voting, which means that they're already ahead of us. They've already got theirs in. We haven't even heard of it. We haven't even started. And guess what? It's too late. So we should have had a participatory budget vote, what we want to see in our community. And so that these are the things that we have to pay attention to. And I know people like, oh, don't go down to City Hall, forget them people. This is where it happens. These are where the laws are made. These are where the ordinances are made. The resolutions are made. These are where the decisions are made. And if you don't go to these meetings, even if you sit there and listen, because sometimes I just go and listen, you don't learn what they're doing. And the stuff is done behind our back, but in our face. So we have to be a part of that. And even if it's one or two people from each organization come sit in the meeting and come back to the community, come back to the table and say, this is what I heard, this is what I think they're doing, this is what I think we should do. We have to be at these meetings. We have to.
We have to be at the table.
We
If
have
not,
to.
we're on the menu.
So can you imagine that these people were so organized that they had a contest to see what they thought was more important in their community, and they voted on it, and then it got to the city of Boston, and the city of Boston has it on their website. They took it serious. We're nowhere in here. It doesn't say anything about black. It doesn't say anything about Nubian Square, Dorchester, Roxbury, Mattapan. They even have seeds, like buying seeds and compost. I mean, things that matter to other people that don't necessarily matter to us.
Which it should.
Which it should at this point. So, Miss Grace, I just think that we should go back to old school. We should go back to the village raises a kid, raises a community. I'm a firm believer in that.
All right. How much? I think we out of time.
Can
We
I
got 2 minutes. All right, go ahead. You got the
How do I do
mic.
this? So this is, how do I do this? This is the petition.
In front of you.
This is the petition that I'm asking people to sign. So this is the QR code. Do it this way. Are they able to get the QR code?
They can see it.
Can they do it on their phone though? You know how like you,
Oh.
on the screen, like on the
I
phone?
don't know
Let me
if
see.
they'll be able to do that.
Okay, so this one is the petition, and one of them is the story that the Dorchester reporter wrote on the bill that we did. So if you can't get this, you can always call me.
That's what I was gonna say. Give you information.
I answer my phone 24 hours a day. I meet with people. I educate people. I inform people. I empower people. So it's Antonia Edwards. My phone number is 757-589-6239. You can call me anytime. Literally, I answer my phone 24 hours a day because I'm very community driven and family driven. So it's Antonia Edwards,